everyone, I'm Ray. Today we're going to do a physics experiment to study the refraction of light in water. When light travels from air into water or from water into air, the direction of the light changes. In this experiment, we will observe the changes step by step and find the rules behind them. Here are the things we'll need for the experiment. We'll need some water, a rectangular tank, some milk, a laser pointer, wooden sticks, and a lighter. First, as shown in the setup, I fill the rectangular water tank with water. Then, I drip 2 drops of milk into the water tank and place it in the correct position. Afterwards, I ask an adult to light a wooden stick and put it in the tank, producing smoke so that we can see the laser later. Then, I turn on one beam of the laser box and let the light enter the flat side of the water tank at an angle. Now, we observe what happens when the light travels from the air to the water. At the boundary between the air and water, the ray bends. The refracted ray bends towards the normal line, which is the line drawn perpendicular to the surface. At this moment, the angle of refraction is smaller than the angle of incidence. Next, I slowly increase the angle of incidence. You can see that as the angle of incidence increases, the angle of refraction also increases. However, the angle of refraction is always smaller than the angle of incidence. Now, I let the light enter the water perpendicularly. We can see that the direction of the light does not change. So when the light enters water vertically, the refraction does not occur. Next, I let the air travel from water to air. This time, the refracted ray bends away from the normal line. In this case, the angle of refraction is larger than the angle of incidence. Finally, we shine the light at a specific angle. This time, when the light hit the surface, it bounced back down into the water. Why did this happen? Let's move on to the slides. From these experiments, we observed several refraction phenomena. Now, let's use a few slides to clearly summarize what we have just observed. When light travels from air to water at an angle, refraction occurs at the boundary. The refracted ray bends towards the normal line. In this situation, the angle of refraction is smaller than the angle of incidence. As the angle of incidence increases, the angle of refraction also increases, but it never becomes larger than the incident angle. This happens because light travels at different speeds in air and water. When light travels from water into the air, the situation is completely opposite. The refracted ray bends away from the normal line. In this case, the angle of refraction is larger than the angle of incidence. If the angle of incidence becomes large enough, refraction may even stop completely, and total inertial refraction can occur. This is why the light ray bounced back into the water when it hit the surface. The angle of incidence became too large, causing total internal refraction to occur. We also observed a special case. When light enters the water perpendicularly, the direction of the light does not change. From all the experiments, we can conclude that the incident ray, the refracted ray, and the normal line all lie in the same plane, and light allows fixed refraction rules when traveling between different medias. From this experiment, we can make a complete summary of how the refraction of light in water. The light travels within a different media. Its speed changes, which causes the direction of the light to change. When the light travels from the air into the water, the refracted ray bends towards the normal. When light travels from the water into the air, the refracted ray bends away from the normal. When the light enters the surface perpendicularly, the direction of the light does not change. We also observe how total internal refraction occurs when the angle of incidence becomes too large. So these are the rules of light refraction in water. Through experiments, we not only observed this phenomenon, but also understood why light changes direction. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next science experiment. Bye!